My name is Adam Berry. I am a paranormal investigator, researcher, author, storyteller. I was on Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters Academy, and now I am the executive producer and co-host of Kindred Spirits on the Travel Channel.
The dead want a voice. We just want to help this family.
The living need our help.
Have you always been here?
He was watching already.
My name is Adam Berry. I am a paranormal investigator, researcher, author, storyteller. I was on Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters Academy, and now I am the executive producer and co-host of Kindred Spirits on the Travel Channel, which has a new season coming out January 20th at 9/8 Central on Travel Channel and streaming same day on Discovery Plus. I'm going to get that plug in immediately so everyone can put that in your calendars and set your DVRs right now. That's about it. I mean, you know, you can use Google. Use Google. I'm definitely not the Adam Berry musician. He will come up and he looks like Jesus. Well, he looks like white Jesus. So ignore him and just find the one that looks really just like too serious with his arms crossed. That's me. That's Adam Berry, and you can learn all about me. Yeah, so that is a very, very long story. And let me have we don't have the whole day to talk about it. So I'll abbreviate it as much as I can. So I grew up in a haunted house when I was a kid. I had experiences. I wasn't afraid of them per se. I was more curious. That was the majority of my childhood. I was obsessed with pop culture and ghost books and, anything I can get my hands on. And it wasn't until I had an experience in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where I had a paranormal experience. And it changed the way that I thought about what the afterlife is and what ghosts are. And it propelled me to try to two things: to figure out, like, am I crazy? Because the experience that I had was pretty insane. It was on one of the Gettysburg battlefields in the middle of the night. But it was like, am I crazy? Or like, what actually is this? And I chose to, deep dive into the afterlife and the paranormal and try to figure out what it is. And I started my own team. So yeah, I mean, I've always said that I don't feel like I was chosen, that I had a choice in this. It chose me. And for some reason, I am now sitting here with you today because I think there's a lot to talk about in the paranormal. And I guess I've been chosen as one of those people to do it. So yeah, it's a hobby became a career, really. I mean, just curiosity, really. It was curiosity. And, I think I've been very lucky enough in my life to have that curiosity and that hobby become something that I get to do all the time. So, very lucky. Yeah, so Amy and I came up with the idea, and it sounds like it would have been hard to do, but when we were on Ghost Hunters, which you can also stream on Discovery Plus, you can see all of our episodes that we were on. There's an episode at Waverly Hills where Amy and I are in the nurses' wing, and there's knocking. We're communicating with nurses through knocks. And we couldn't do much more than that. We found out like how many nurses were there. We found out where they were. We ended up saying, one of you be a spokesperson for everyone. And we started asking them questions, and we offered prayer because that's what they wanted. But besides that, we couldn't do anything else. And when we both left Ghost Hunters, a couple of years later, someone approached Destination America, there was a lot of people that asked us, what do you want to do? And we weren't really interested in, but Destination America really wanted to hear our true feelings about what we do. And they were very interested in, the deep dive of what we actually wanted to do. And that was Kindred Spirits. We said to them, we want to do an investigation where we have these experiences, and yes, we document them, but we also go deeper. We want to find out who is there and why they are there. And we want to find out, if they have a message. We want to be able to bridge the gap between the paranormal and those that are living, to help both sides of the equation, which will in turn give everyone a better understanding of what paranormal investigation actually is. It's also for us, it's a full-fledged investigation from start to finish. You see all the research and the history, and you see us investigating and interviewing, and that's what you do. That's what a team does during paranormal investigation. They don't just go into a place and investigate and go home. It is much deeper than that, and sometimes you don't have enough time to show everything on television. So that's what we wanted to do, and Destination America said yes, and we've been doing it ever since. And again, very lucky. We're very lucky that we get to do this, for sure. Here's the thing. When you look at Ghost Hunters and Taps, like Jay and Grant, they had their team way before Ghost Hunters, right? And that's a team. And so when they are not filming for television, they are doing everything that you would see what we're doing. They would do research and history. And yeah, we did research and history on Ghost Hunters. So no, it wasn't about doing something better than anyone else. It was just we wanted to showcase the way that we do investigating, right? And we have been on Ghost Hunters, recently in the past couple of years, and it's honestly one of the most fun times that we've had, because Amy and I, the pressure is sort of off of us, so we get to go in and hang out with people that we love, our friends that we have known for over a decade. We get to investigate these incredible locations, and have these experiences, and capture this evidence, and it's still exciting and wonderful. It's just two separate things, and I think you can see a lot of us if you watch old Ghost Hunters episodes. You can see a lot of that glimmer of Amy and I, asking these questions about like connecting a bit deeper with the spirits or whatever. But but Kindred is our show. We executive produce the show. We host the show. It is our idea. We get to see all of the rough cuts and the final cuts and make edits to the episode. It's our baby. It's our what's the word I'm looking for? Help me. It's our, I don't know, journey. It's ours, it's something that we get to own and show with the world. And we're very lucky that people like it. They like what we do. Okay, first season, we honestly had no idea what we were doing. We did know what we were doing, but if you watch, like the first episode that we ever filmed, I don't know if it aired in this order, but the first episode we ever did was a young woman, and it was just a house. And I think Greg and Dana Newkirk are Skyped in for that episode, and there's like a bell that rings, and we find out that it's her grandmother. The thing is, like, when you tell someone, like, this is our idea and this is what we want to do, and then they literally say, okay, go do it, right? Go do it. And we never know how a case is going to turn out. We never know if we're going to get activity. We don't know anything. We know what's happening in the house, and we know why we're going. But we have no idea if these ghosts are going to give us the time of day. So when we did that first case, I remember one of our producers that was helping us, part of our production company that we work with, was listening in to our first like run, right? Our first going into the house and investigating. And we come out and he looks us dead in the face and he goes, "You guys actually know what you're doing." And I was like, well, of course we know what we're doing. And so we that first season was a lot of exploration and like, what can we do? How far can we take it? How much can we show? Like it was so much fun to create something and build something that has lasted so long. I think the foundation that we created has enabled us to even grow further from that, right? It's not stagnant. We try to think of new and different experiments that help us communicate with spirits. We think outside of the box. We've gotten a lot more intense cases coming our way because people know that we exist and we're out there looking to help people. So season seven is full of some of our most intense cases yet, because word's gotten out that like, oh, they can come and help you. And so I think it's definitely grown from season one. Plus, we look so young, even though we still look young. Come on. But it's really cool to see the evolution of the show itself. But it's been really great for Amy and I to expand how we help people and what we get to do for the ghosts and for those that are living. There's an episode that on season 7 that it's a family and their son is experiencing really, really crazy activity. And like ever since he was a kid, and they started getting scratched. It's an episode in not New York, Pennsylvania, New York. It's in New York. And Chip Coffey is on this episode. And I remember when we walked in, and I don't know if it's probably on the show because we loved this so much. We walked in and they had no idea who we were. They had never seen the show. They did not know. They'd never seen Ghost Hunters. I mean, they looked us up after we were coming to their house to make sure, like, who are these people actually coming? But their friend sent us an email saying, my friends need help. They don't understand what's going on. I've seen the activity myself. Can you help them? And that's how we ended up going to help them, because their case seemed very intense, but they had no idea who we were. And so we walked in and he was like, I have to be honest with you. I don't know who you are. Like, I've never seen your show. And I was like, that is amazing. We love to hear that. I mean, we don't love to hear that. Everyone needs to watch our show. But from a case standpoint, these two people were at their wits' end, so much so that they did not know who we were. They just needed help. And I was like, that's great. Awesome. Let's act, they really needed help. So I think I would love for every single person in the world to watch Kindred Spirits, which they will be doing. And we will continue to do this for years and years and years. But it's great to hear somebody say, like, my friend just knows who you are and I need help, please. And that's how desperate sometimes these families are. Well, I'll give you two. I'll give you one. So that's already aired. I would say, the Ghost Train episode, Wilhelmina Crocker at Crocker Tavern House. When we did the experiment where Amy went to the train tracks and I stayed back at the house. That to me was an instance where we needed communication from a specific spirit. We had to figure out how to get it. And so we said, what if we could trigger this activity and have her communicate with us? And by God, it worked. We honestly, after it worked, we were like, what have we done? Like, what have we actually done? Like, that's terrifying. But that experience sticks with me, and everybody talks about it. I mean, it's probably one of our most talked about episodes or cases when we do Q&As and lectures and stuff. But for this season, there's a case in Palmyra, New York. I think it's maybe number 2 or number 4 episode. It's in Palmyra, New York. And we got to Palmyra, New York is near where the Fox Sisters property is located. So not only did Amy and I get to go to the Fox Sisters property and like pay homage to those that came before us, but we were able to hold a Victorian seance in a parlor with Heather Matheson, which is a psychic that we helped on Kindred Spirits, but she came to help us on this case because she was so nearby. And we sat down at this table. We used a spiritualist. Her name was Sybil. We used her table, her crystal ball. We used her chairs, and we asked her to join us, in her own environment and have a seance. And when you think about that, like spiritualism, the spiritualist movement was about seance and connecting with the afterlife. And that was her religion. I'm not going to tell you whether or not she showed up, but I'm going to give you this eye, and then you're going to watch it. That to me was the most incredible experience, because what it does is it not only confirms that there is an afterlife, in my opinion, but it showed, like, all of these people back in the spiritualist movement. I mean, it goes back forever, but she was specifically around 1920. So they had something right. They were onto something. They're onto something. And if she shows up, doesn't that prove that there is an afterlife? Like, if she shows up, right? So it was mind blowing. And we specifically went there to ask her about something that was happening a couple of doors down on the same block, because we were like, do you know anything about this activity? We've seen spirits being able to communicate with each other about other locations in their area. And so it was that to me, I will never forget. I'll never forget. And Amy has said out loud publicly, it's probably one of her favorite episodes this season. So I can't wait for people to see that. That place is very haunted. It was, that place was very, very haunted. I'll say something cool about the season premiere. So season premiere happens on January 20th, and Chip Coffey's there in person. Our friend John E.L. Tenney, if you know John Tenney, he's there with us. He's the most interesting man in the paranormal, I call him. But we were able to hold an investigation moment in that space where we brought in those that we were helping. And I know that we've done this in the past, where you bring in a homeowner or something, but this is very different because there were 4 of them. There was 4 people. And, we sat in a circle, and Amy was doing the Estes method with the blindfold and the spirit, listening to the spirit box. And she's sitting there. And I gave the floor to them. I said, you go ahead, ask the questions that you need to know, because you're here, right? We're here to help you connect with them. Ask them yourselves. And to see them, they know what investigating is, but to see those people we were trying to help be like, okay, are you serious? And then start asking these questions. And then what happens during that is crazy to me, because they had no idea what they were getting into. But to hear them come to the table and ask the things that they really wanted to know, and to have the spirits on the other side respond either accordingly or in a different way that they understood, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, it just shows that ghost hunting and paranormal investigation is for everybody. Like, anyone can do it. And I think, sometimes you think you have to be really good at it, or you have to be like, you have to have all this equipment. But honestly, sometimes you can just sit in the dark and speak out loud, and they'll hear you. And I think that it was so fun. It was so awesome. Well, and I think our show, I think our series, Kindred Spirits, facilitates that kind of thing. It's come in with us, see how the sausage is getting made. We don't care. Come and look. Come and be a part of it for yourself, because it helps us. It helps us figure out what's happening. Sometimes. And I think that's something really cool about Kindred that we get to do. Well, I know the network is listening. I've heard 39,000 episodes for season 8. I think it's going to, we're going to do 39,000. No, I don't know. I mean, as long as people are watching, as long as people are tuned in, we will continue to do it. There are many places that we have not gotten to. I mean, I have an inbox full of emails of people who have already reached out in the past since we've stopped filming for this season, which was back in November, saying, hey, this location, or help me with this, or so we have locations. We have places we could go. We have people that really need help. And so as long as people are tuning in, which I think they are, we will continue to do it until we can't. And then we'll do something else even better. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't like to talk about the show being done. So let's not do that. Let's talk about because the show in my eyes, I think can go on forever and ever. So we're always doing other things, right? Like I'm currently working on a project that I can't talk about. I mean, I wish I could. I did on Saturday. I slipped up, and I was like, "Gosh!" So I'm not going to slip up. But I'm working on something that is very important to me. That it's coming out at the end of September. Amy has her event company, Strange Escapes, strange-escapes.com. If you want to come investigate with us on the road, I do events. Amy and I do lecture tours. We do speaking engagements. Amy has her book that she's written. I think as long as we live in an age where people are creating content, right? They're creating content in different forms, in different ways, and I can see, that we do that always. Even when we're not on Kindred, or working on like actively filming episodes. You see us creating content and doing things, and we're always keeping busy. So I don't think that will ever stop. I think, Amy and I both, and Chip, we investigate and look for ghosts even when we're not filming an episode, right? So we will be doing that forever and ever. Amy and I will be in the middle of it, like an abandoned asylum in some wheelchairs that we have to have, rolling each other around, looking for probably our friends that have gone before us. At that point, we're just going to be doing it forever and ever because the paranormal is always changing. There's always something new to look at and something new to explore. And I don't think it's ever going to end. I mean, you have a passion for this, it seems, and you're never going to quite. It's never gonna. You can't quit it. I can't quit you. You're not going to be able to quit it. You'll be doing it forever and ever because it's fascinating. And like I said earlier, it was a hobby that became a career, and it's always going to be there. Well, I can give you some recommendations on how to get in if you want to hear them. You're like, yes, please. So basically what you should do is you should make a list of places that you can get into by paying a fee, right? Make a list of places that you can get into by invitation only, and then start knocking out those little investigations where you pay like $500 or whatever to go in, and investigate. And then before you leave or after you've left, get a recommendation letter from the place that you just went. Say, hey, listen, can I get a paragraph that talks about us? And are you happy? Because we didn't do anything bad or whatever. Get those recommendation letters and then just start writing to these other places and say, hey, listen, just email them and then have a folder attached and say, look, these are some recommendation letters with their contact. This is our reputation precedes us. We'd love the opportunity to come in, even if it's for a couple of hours. You can be there with us. You don't have, it's like, don't be like, oh, you have to be in another room. Don't say you can be a part of it. You can come with us. Because I think people like to be involved, and especially in those places that are hard to get into, they don't know who you are. They want to make sure you're not going to steal something or break something. So it's approach it from that kind of situation. Like you're trying to get a job, basically, and never approach it from, we have this many followers, we have this many likes, this many people. Don't ever do that because they don't care about the publicity. They don't need it. Right. It is, and they are doing something for you. You are not doing something for them. So approach it as if you're trying to get a job, get those recommendation letters. Word of mouth is a big deal. And to keep doing it. It's hard. I mean, even on Kindred, I have called places for information and, they're like, oh, what's this for? And we'll say Travel Channel. And we get away with that because they're like, oh, travel. But sometimes if they hear about ghosts, they're like, we don't want any of that. We don't want any of that. And that's their own, that's their own belief and their own thing. And I mean, that's coming from like a research standpoint. Like we want to come to the Historical Society, and they're like, no, we don't want. But yeah, approach it that way and see what happens. Listen, not really. I mean, if I could talk about, if anybody wants to keep up with me, they can visit my website, Adam Berry, adam-berry.com. I have events coming up. They can find those there. I'm on all the social medias. You can find me there if you want to keep up with what we're doing. But really, the focus is right now is season 7, and season 7 is going to be spectacular. One of the best. I have an episode that I have to go watch today. I got the episode. I have to go make notes on it, so I can't wait. It's an episode that we do in Gettysburg, so I can't wait to go and see what that looks like. But every single episode that comes out, there's always something fun to look at. Something happens. It's scary at times. There's this theme throughout the entire season about sort of these spirits communicating the idea of living your life to the fullest and passing away with no regrets and seizing the day. And I know that sounds so cliche, but it's really what the message was. And I don't know if it's because of what we've all gone through as a society in the last few years with the pandemic, but it's very powerful. It's emotional. It's scary. It's thought-provoking. And I'm kind of nervous, but I'm so excited for everyone to see the premiere on Friday, January 20th. And if there's anybody overseas listening in the UK, our season 7, series 7, I don't know what they say, begins 26th January on the Really channel. So if anyone's listening in the UK, you can start watching on the 26th of January on the Really channel. But if you're in the States or any in the Northern Hemisphere, it's Discovery Plus streaming January 20th and 9/8 Central on Travel Channel starting January 20th.
The dead want a voice. We just want to help this family.
The living need our help.
Have you always been here?
He was watching already.